plummeted uncontrollably in just 68 seconds. 22-year-old Yuri Lipski plunged from sunlit shallows into Egypt's notorious Blue Hole, the deadliest sinkhole on Earth. What began as a weekend thrill dive detonated into nitrogen-numbed freefall, and Yuri's helmet cam captured every horrifying frame that would surface long after he didn't. Though he was not a professional diver, 22-year-old Yuri Lipski had just completed recreational diving courses and was certified to dive within safe limits, nothing deeper than 30 meters. Without hesitation, he prepared himself for his biggest dive ever. In April 2000, Yuri traveled from Israel to Dahab, Egypt, to explore the legendary depths of the Blue Hole. This 120-meter deep sinkhole is unlike any other. It is more dangerous than any other Red Sea dive site and is nicknamed the Divers' Cemetery. That might sound scary for ordinary people, but for extreme divers, it was an invitation to adventure. The sinkhole is dangerous because its famous arch is a 26-meter-long tunnel lying 56 meters below the water's surface. This arc runs from the Blue Hole straight into the Red Sea itself. Because of how hard it is to go through this arc, the Egyptian Diving Association has strictly warned against diving below 40 meters in the Blue Hole. The diver must never use regular compressed air if they want to go deeper. But in Dahab, this rule is often ignored, and with a fatality count of over 200, thousands of thrill-seekers like Yuri wanted to beat the challenge, and he planned to capture it on camera. For around €100, most divers hire a local guide willing to take divers down into the arch secretly, with no questions asked and no safety checks required. And that was what Yuri planned on doing. Hours before his fatal dive, Yuri approached Tarek Omar, a veteran technical diver, hoping he could be his guide for a fee.
He showed up once, the year before his accident. He showed up once and he was like everybody else showing up around Dahab, and we hear it every day. I'm here for 2 days, I want to do the canyon and the Blue Hole. Regardless experience, certification, regardless nothing.
Still, Omar was not ready to compromise their safety, so he advised Yuri to train with him for 2 weeks.
Like 4 o'clock or something, and he met another guy and he convinced him to do the hole, to do the dive.
אני תמיד דאגתי על הקול הזה, ואני אמרתי לו, יורי.
Yuri had only planned to stay in Dahab for the weekend. He didn't have time to take up Omar's offer, so he declined it, but was still determined to go for a plunge, and he did just that.
Let's say that his destiny, he left me like 4 o'clock or something, and he met another guy, and he convinced him to do the hole, to do the dive.
On the 28th of April, around 5 p.m., Yuri dived into the Blue Hole, carrying just regular scuba gear and a helmet-mounted camera, and he headed for the arch, and his camera captured every moment. At first, there were a few divers on the same level as him, but as Yuri descended, he slowly drifted from the group, and the divers on the same level gradually decreased until it was just him and his rolling camera. On getting to the arch, everything seemed fine for a while, but then the sunlight dimmed as Yuri went deeper and began to struggle. 10 meters inside the arch, Yuri's lungs started taking in just half the amount of air that he would have taken on the surface, and as the air got denser, his bloodstream started absorbing more and more nitrogen. This was precisely why divers were instructed to take a different gas mix if they planned on going that deep. The deeper a diver goes, the more likely they are to absorb nitrogen into their body, and this buildup ends up resulting in a narcotic, drunken-like state known as nitrogen narcosis. Once in this state, the diver's ability to make rational judgments becomes affected, motor skills are reduced, and a sense of euphoria, confusion, or panic sets in. Yuri had gotten to that depth, and he started sinking uncontrollably within seconds. He desperately tried to slow his descent, but to no avail. Inflating his buoyancy control device was useless. He was too heavy. The water pressure increased rapidly, increasing the pressure inside his lungs. His breathing became more erratic, his movements became jerky and uncontrolled, and he seemed confused and disoriented as he sank past 80 meters, more than twice the limit for recreational diving. He tried to inflate his buoyancy control device again, and it suddenly burst open. Air rushed out of his vest, sealing his fate. Finally, at just over 91 meters, Yuri landed face down at the bottom of the sea, and the video ends at exactly 7 minutes and 16 seconds. About a week later, on May 5th, Yuri's mother traveled to Dahab to look for her son. As soon as investigations started, Omar was tasked to search the blue hole.
His father, he was arrived already in Dahab, and he asked me to recover his son. I said, okay, we could do it. It's gonna take 2 days. One dive first to see the location, be sure everything is cool, and the second day we can recover him.
Because of how big the sinkhole is, it took Omar an entire day to find Yuri's emotionless body on the ocean floor, motionless. On the second day, he re-entered the water and recovered Yuri's body.
He was facing the ground. He had a cut on his tank strap, so the tank it was floating. His camera video, it was underneath him, around his chest, and he have a couple of batteries around him. In the first dive, I get his stuff around him, tied it up, because next morning I need to recover him with everything.
In a later interview, Omar revealed that the first thing he noticed was that Yuri was excessively weighted. He was carrying 12 kilograms of lead on his belt, along with his air tank, helmet camera, cables, and batteries. This made ascent nearly impossible for him. Omar also noticed Yuri's ruptured buoyancy compensator and the fact that he entered the water with only 12 liters of compressed air. But that's not all. 2 days after Yuri's body was recovered, his remains and his belongings were given to his mother. But then she returned, asking Omar to help her disassemble his equipment so she could pack them. Omar said that he had earlier assumed that Yuri's helmet camera had gotten damaged or even broken because he had found it 115 meters below the land source. Cameras like that were only designed to sustain 75 meters, but to his surprise, the camera was still working. When Omar played the camera in Yuri's mother's presence, that moment became a grave mistake that he said he would forever regret. Because if he had known what was captured by the camera, he would have flooded it instead of making the mourning mother relive her son's death. Despite its disturbing nature, the video later appeared online and has since become the most viewed diving accident video on YouTube. Where Yuri was laid to rest is still not known, since his mother did not publicly reveal the place she chose to be his final resting place. Still, when interviewed by German diving journalist Heinz Krimmer, Omar said that Yuri was cremated and his ashes were buried in the blue hole. Today, a memorial on the cliffside by the entrance to the blue hole reads, Yuri Lipski, October 1st, 1977, April 28th, 2000. You will always be with us, Mama. Yuri's passing raised global awareness of how dangerous the blue hole is, but sadly, it also attracted more divers who see it as a challenge.